What movie death scene is seared into your memory? That poor guy who gets his heart ripped out by Thuges and sent into lava in Temple of Doom always got me as a kid. Still pretty memorable. Probably this guy in Black Hawk Down. So he was in this convoy truck and it got blown up by an RPG. Then one of the soldiers picked up his hand, then saw the guy dying with half his body blown off. His last words? "Tell my girls I'll be okay." I saw that scene when I was a kid and it never left my head. For me it was Corporal Jamie Smith bleeding out while he bled out because they couldn't clamp his leg artery. The man and woman in Titanic that lay in bed together as the water starts rising in the room. Leo's death in The Departed. I was so unprepared. The scene in Bone Tomahawk where they rip the guy in half. This fucking scene. I hate it, that it haunts me and interrupts my thoughts every once in a while. I'd be thinking about work, my kids, planning stuff, wishbone scene, and my fucking day is ruined. Robocop buddy gets covered with toxic waste and then gets hit by a car and explodes like a water balloon. Edit. Syntax edit 2. Murphy's death was hard to watch for sure. Poor bastard. But I could never get the vision of the windshield go out of my head. When they crush Piggie in Lord of the Flies, I was probably too young to watch. Also, the scientist who gets killed in the elevator in Damian. The Omen II. I remember when I read The Lord of the Flies, and I felt so bad for poor Simon. The Green Mile. The whole thing. Even down to the damn mouse. That movie was the first that ever made me cry and broke through my depression. No film will ever overwrite that one. Eva Green's character drowning in Casino Royale. Having James Bond watching her as she about to drown horribly has always stuck with me. When the shark kills Quint in Jaws. The six-fingered man in The Princess Bride. I want my father back, you son of a bitch. Apostrophe. In Silence of the Lambs, when Hannibal gets a hold of the guard in his cage cell and starts biting his face. 9-year-old me was not ready for that. And I was less ready to hear my mom start laughing hysterically at the scene. I guess she just found it absurd. 9-year-old me was not ready for that. Was 9-year-old you ready for Buffalo Bill to talk about getting fucked in the mirror? Hereditary. The car crash. The way he just goes home and goes straight to bed. Chilling. The way he just lays there with his eyes open all night. I don't want to imagine what thoughts were spinning through his mind as he lay there for hours. Then hearing his parents wake up but not knowing what to tell them. Then hearing his mom go out to the car knowing what is waiting for her. That whole scene is so stressful on so many levels. His mom's shriek when she leaves the house haunts me to this day. Toni Collette got fucking robbed of an Oscar nom for that performance. The shoe in Roger Rabbit. How about the steamroller scene? That movie was packed to the brim with traumatic whimsy. When I killed your brother, I talked just like this. / eyes turn into daggers / That scene still gives me the creeps. Love the movie though. For movies Brooks was here. For TV it's the snake pit in Vikings and the kitchen sink / fork in Sons of Anarchy. Satine's death in Moulin Rouge, right after she got back together with her love. They sing this awesome love song, and she dies as the curtain goes down. Ewan McGregor breaks my heart with that sobbing. Wait. So you're telling me that Ewan McGregor watches his love, who is named Satine, die as they are reunited? And this isn't Star Wars. They named the Duchess Satine in Clone Wars because of Ewan's role in Moulin Rouge. The baby gorilla in the animated Tarzan. What the hell? Disney? That whole movie had a lot of death. Clayton's death at the end was really dark. Didn't notice the shadow of his hanging corpse as a kid. I was too focused on the machete. Also didn't notice that you can see Tarzan's parents' corpses. Tarzan's parents' corpses and little bloody paw prints. Long live the king. No. R-tags. No question. The scene in Casino where Joe Pesci watches his brother get beaten to death with aluminum baseball bats. The pinging sound haunts me to this day, and that was a true story, right down to the dirt in the respiratory tract from being buried alive. Jesus. I know the film was based on a true story, but I didn't know that about the scene. makes it so much worse. Thanks for the nightmare fuel fun fact. Haha. That scene probably isn't actually true. It was believed to be what happened when the movie was made. But in 2007 one of the mobsters responsible testified that the Spilotro brothers were actually beaten to death off-site and were just buried in the cornfield. It's pretty unlikely that either of them were actually alive when they were buried. I don't think that there's any real evidence other than Nicholas Calabrese's testimony, so I guess he could be lying. But that's a weirdly specific and pointless thing to lie about given the context of everything else that he copped to during his plea deal. It's also very possible that he thought they were dead. It's not like they would have brought in a doctor to determine time of death. You beat a guy till he stops moving, throw him in a trunk, and then dump him in a hole. No one is gonna monitor for shallow breaths. Thomas from my girl, Macaulay Culkin, https://www.youtube.com/watch v equals IZDX7BVZ Doug https://www.youtube.com/watch v equals IZDX7BVZ Doug. Oh my god, yes. He needs his glasses. Drew Barrymore hanging from a tree with the camera zooming in to start Scream. Her parents finding her body made it more heartbreaking too, especially hearing her mom scream out and collapse. Ghost Ship. A cable sweeps through a dance floor so fast and sharp it slices people in half. This will always be in my memory. Wasn't the captain dancing with the little girl and she watches as his head falls apart? He kind of gets sliced diagonally and she is too short to get cut by the cable. I watched this movie a bunch of times. I'm not sure why. Edit. I may be misremembering. I do think one of them got the head slice, but now I'm questioning if it was the captain. 1917. When Lance Corporal Blake gets shot stabbed by the enemy he was trying to help after a plane crash. And then his best friend has to watch him bleed out and later tell Blake's brother about his death. Awful. That scene is incredible. You can see his face starting to get flush from the blood leaving his body. At the end it's stark white. I just watched this movie like 2 weeks ago. Holy cow. What a ride. How do you even make an actor go pale like that? He was method acting. They actually stabbed him and watched him bleed out. Incredible performance and dedication to the role. The one secretary lady from Jurassic World. All she wanted was to plan her wedding and not drag around to snotty brats all day. I scrolled down too far to find this. It's so random, but this movie death stuck with me. The movie didn't make her character unlikable enough to have her killed in such a brutal way. Apparently this death stuck with more people than you'd think. Jurassic World cruel death. https://www.google.com/amp/s/birthmoviesteve.com/2016/06/15/ The strangely cruel and unusual death in Jurassic World/amp. Curb stomp from American History X. The sound of the teeth on the curb. Open bracket. I never understood what a curb stomp really was until that moment. It stuck my head too. John Coffey from The Green Mile. Don't put me in the dark. I's afraid of the dark. That and the Cajun guy whose head lights up in the chair. WOOO. He's cooking now. That guy was such a convincing piece of shit I can't think of him in any other role. Wash. Serenity. Shepherd book. His last bit was just watching the people he cared for be miserable while he was in incredible pain. Bridge to Terabithia. Thanks for killing me inside. When I was in high school, a friendly, charismatic classmate and his little brother were both killed in a car accident on their way to school. The whole town was in mourning, and it was my first time dealing with the death of someone my own age. Someone who I'd had classes with. The friendly class clown who everyone liked. I was not dealing with it well, and my mom wanted to help. So she decided that we'd rent a cute movie. Something to take my mind off of it. I'd never read The Bridge to Terabithia. Neither had she. We had no clue what it was about other than knowing it involved fun fantasy stuff. The ending of that movie sucker punched me so hard. We were in shock. And I remember crying so hard at the ending. It felt like I couldn't breathe. Looking back, The poor choice is darkly comedic in a how could this week possibly get any worse kind of way, but at the time it was horrifying. Saving Private Ryan is one of my all-time favorite movies, but I can't watch the scene where Mellish gets stabbed. Mine is where Medic Wade gets shot and dies. Tell us how to fix you. It's brutal. Those last seconds of him saying he wants to go home and then asking for his mama. Jesus Christ. Heartbreaking. I like how that scene is somewhat foreshadowed by his heart-to-heart he had in the church the night before, sharing with his friends how when he was little his mom would come home late from work and he'd lay in bed and pretend to be asleep. Makes me feel like he died with a lot of regret in his heart.